Welcome back to Recap Legends. Today, I'm going to explain an American drama thriller film named The Thinning. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. The movie starts with 2039, where it is shown that the Earth has become now overpopulated. And the United Nations countries decided to cut their population by 5% every year in order to combat overpopulation. Following those orders, the United States implements a rule called the Thinning. In the Thinning, the students must attend a standardized test every year and whoever fails is executed by injecting with a drug. After this, the scene of this movie shifts. We saw a girl named Lena, who is tutoring a high school kid named Simon. Simon is preparing for his exam, which was going to take place in 18 hours. Even with Lena's help, Simon gets frustrated and says he is not enough prepared for this test. So he asks Lena for something and gives her money in exchange for a contact lens that he can use to cheat. But Liana advised him to destroy those contact lenses after the completion of the test. As soon as Simon wears them, it starts to display the answers to the math problems in his notebook. At the same time, Lena receives a call from the hospital and goes to the hospital to meet her mother. After this, the scene shifts and we see the governor's mansion, where we are introduced to Blake, the son of Texas Governor Dean Redding. He tells his guards to bring him something to eat from the kitchen, but as the guard has left, Blake sneaks out of the house to his car where he finds his girlfriend, Ellie. Here Black says to Ellie that they are likely to meet for the last time. Because they, too, have a test the next day, Ellie confesses that she is terrified of the test. Meanwhile, a guard of Black catches them and brings Blake back to his father. Here his father gives him a hug and wishes him luck on the test before leaving. Later, we see a school scene with black-suited guards. They were keeping an eye on the students and checking them. We also encounter Liana's brother, Simon, who has misplaced his contact lens. Meanwhile, guards see him and asked him to move further. Just then, Black comes in front of Liana, where he also starts to demand contact lenses from her, so that he too can qualify for the exam by cheating, but Liana tells him that she had only one contact lens, which she gave to her brother. On the other hand, the guards who were inspecting the students found a cheating device in his hand. But seeing himself caught, he starts running away, but the guards present there to catch him and put him behind the bar. After this, the test begins. The guards lock the whole school. Here teachers instructed students that this test may be a little bit tough, but they trust their students that they'll attempt it. Later, the lights of the class dim, and every student takes a tab and begins his test. But when the test ends, all the students were quite afraid. Few of them were crying because the failures' names were now being announced. Those who fail are taken by the guards. They cry, resist the guards, and some even try to run away. The guard would beat up those students who resist. Luckily, Lena, Kellen, and Blake pass. However, at the last moment, Blake's girlfriend, Ellie, is called by the teacher, so the guards take her away. The remaining students are congratulated for passing and released to the recording room. Lena sees Simon being led away with the failed students and Blake calls his dad to beg for him to do something to save Ellie. But his dad insists that he has to obey the law. Hearing this, Blake gets angry and attacks a guard with a fire extinguisher. He tells Ellie to run as the guards are distracted, but she is stopped by the crowd and caught. In the next scene, a year has passed, and only 24 hours remain in the second test's conduction. Liana was getting her younger siblings ready for this test, and here we come to know that Liana's mother had also passed away. Here it comes to know that Lena's little sister, Greene, is also going to take this test. Suddenly, the doorbell rings, and it was Lena's teacher, Ms. Birch, who has been taking care of Lena and Greene like her own children since their mother's death. She tries to calm Lena down because tomorrow is Greene's first test and Lena worries about her sister, but she assures them that everything will be fine. On the other side, we see Black in his room, working out, in front of his girlfriend's photo, Ellie. After this, Blake puts a parcel into the mailbox for his father. Now the scene shifts to the next day, where the test is going to conduct in a few minutes. Lena drops Greene to her kindergarten. In Corinne's class, they are presented with video animation, showing the current state of the Earth, so all nations must annually cut their populations by 5%. Some countries implemented rules like allowing couples to have only one child, while others executed the older generation. In America, however, the government decided to keep only the smartest ones and execute the others. These children are no exception. After this, the children's test then starts. Their teacher is saddened because some of the children are going to be executed. Thankfully, Greene passes the test. On the other hand, when Black's father opens the parcel, which was sent by his own son, he finds a tablet with a video, in which Black stated that he'll fail the test deliberately. On seeing the recorded video of his son, Black's father insisted on bringing his son back, but the exam had already begun and he throws a chair in frustration. So he calls the test manager, Mason King, and orders him to pass Blake regardless of his score. On getting the order from the governor, Mason switches his score with Lena. As the test results are published, everyone's surprised to see Lena's name in the failure list. Seeing the result of Lena, her teacher stops the guard as they take her, claiming that she is her best student and there must be something wrong with the system. But guard says to her that these results are final and cannot be changed. On hearing this, Lena's teacher gives her a keycard, so she can unlock the doors and escape. Actually, every teacher got a keycard to access every door of the school. On the other hand, Blake is surprised to hear that he had been qualified for this test, even though he had marked the wrong answer to every question. The students who failed were given new clothes and moved to a different room. Meanwhile, Lena and the students who have failed are taken into a room and put against a wall. They are forced to remove all of their clothing for decontamination. Then, Lena and the others are taken to a room where the guards are about to execute them by lethal injection. At the same time, Black was shown in the school, who wants to free all students who had failed this test. For this, Black's entered the control room and tried to decrypt the password of the computer, but he failed to decrypt the password. So he become frustrated and switches off the electricity to the entire school, due to which the school becomes dark. Taking this chance, the students who are about to be executed free themselves and try to run away, but none of them succeeds, except for Lena. She uses the keycard that was given by her teacher and gets out of the room. Soon after, Mason comes to the room and asks for a head count. They find out that Lena is missing, and start looking for her. Then after this, a guard notices Lena trying to get out a door, but she introduces herself as Miss Birch. On believing the word of Lena, as the guard turns back, she attacks that guard and makes him unconscientious. Meanwhile, Black arrives there and the two of them work together to hide the body of that guard. Here Liana claims that she cannot fail, but Black claims that he has deliberately failed, and while talking, they realize that some thing was done to Blake and Lena's results. After this, they both enter into a vent and hide. They follow the network cables to go to the server room where they can look at the results through the computer. And when Manson comes to know that the situation is going to be out of control, he decides that the school will stay in lockdown until the situation is resolved, even as they surpass the time when parents were expecting to see their children. After this, a student has an argument with the guard. As a result, the guard starts to beat him, and Liana's friend records the incident on his phone and sends it to another reporter friend of his. Now, the news gets outside and is being broadcasted all over the state. The parents outside are getting concerned. Then, Governor Dean calls Mason to ask him about the situation. Meanwhile, the vents below Blake break, making him fall into the swimming pool below. Seeing Blake in the swimming pool, Lena jumps after him and brings him out of the water, in order to save his life. After this, they change their damp clothes by taking clothes from a locker. Meanwhile, Liana notices another vent and leads them inside. They then continue to go through the vents and reach the server room, but a guard stands in front of the door. Moreover, Lena's keycard falls down the vent in front of the guard. He doesn't notice the card, but now she has to get it back somehow. And for this, both make a plan. Her plan is to go to the science lab and join a string with a magnet to fish the key through the vent, so they head down to the lab to retrieve the equipment needed. However, in the lab, they make a slight noise causing the guard to approach the lab. They quickly try to escape, where Lena manages to get back to the vents but Blake is stuck and hides in that lab. But when the guards reach the lab, Black kills him and puts on his dress, and goes to Liana. On the other hand, Manson was informed about the death of the guard and he also says at the same time that the one who killed our guard had the keycard and she was calling herself a teacher. Then, Manson gathers all the teachers together, suspecting that someone has given it to their students. When Ms. Birch is in the room with other teachers, she flirts with another teacher and manages to take his key card. Mason continues checking the teachers for their keycards and ID cards. Birch saves herself by showing them the card. Since the other teacher doesn't have his keycard, Manson threatens him to tell them where Lena is. However, he insists he doesn't know anything as Mason beats him. On the other hand, Lena finally gets to the server room. She opens the computer using the keycard but Mason has it protected with a password. She then texts Kellen who is good at hacking to provide her with the access. After some time, Kellen receives Lena's text. He helps her to get through Mason's computer. Lena then searches for her results and finds out she got 98% but still failed, while Blake got 15% and passed. She does more research and finds out that Ellie too had gotten 88% and failed, while others who had fewer marks than her passed. Lena realizes that the grading system is rigged, and the governor has been failing and passing whoever he wishes to. Then Lena sends a file with the rigged grades to Kellen. But soon, the power is back on, and Mason sees that she is in the server room. Lena realizes this and runs out. However, Mason catches her almost immediately. Blake, on the other hand, goes to that room, where the failed student had been kept. Although Blake was in the uniform of the guard, so he orders the guard to take all the students to the recreational hall. But the guard refuses, so they get into a fight. The guards restrain him and find out his identity. Just then, Kellen receives Lena's message and is surprised to see the rigged results. Then Kellen email all the results to his anchor friend, and his friend broadcasts the news of the altercation in the results. After the photos are leaked, the governor is called by his party head and asked to resign from his governor post. Unwilling to let that happen, Governor throws all the accusations at Manson and pretends that he is innocent. He tries to prove this, so he has no choice but to execute all of those who actually failed, including his own son, Blake. At the school, Mason and the guards take Lena to the thinning room to execute her, and the others Blake is there too. Mason calls the governor to ask him if they should proceed to execute the students, but Dean tells him to stop. He wants the students who have actually failed to be executed, including his own son. Then the guards free Lena and other students who have actually passed the test. Lena kisses Blake, but the guards take him and the rest who have failed. They execute them by injecting them with a drug. As the lockdown ends, Lena is reunited with her younger sister, Greene, and Ms. Birch. After this, the scene shifts to a few hours later, where we see the failed students being taken underground in an elevator, and when the stops, a place were seen that looked like a factory. It is filled with goods being produced by the tech company Assure Global. Many people work in the factory. Just then, Blake is surprised to notice that one of them is actually Ellie, his girlfriend. This indicates that the students who are supposed to be executed are actually brought underground to work as slaves for a multi-million company. This was all planned by the government as a strategy to get free labor. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.